Okay, so now we're going to cut down the hollow core door. Now with these doors, when you buy them, the whole door itself is actually hollow up inside here. So let me just show you what I mean. This is a stud finder. It'll tell us where the outside ribbing would be. So you see right there? That's how thick the bottom of this door actually is. So now when we try to cut this 1.5 inches up, we're going to be cutting right up inside here, so it's going to be in the hollow part of the door. So let me show you how we're going to go ahead doing that. First thing we needed, of course, is a stud finder. We need a pencil. We need some tape like this, a tape measure, and you can use a skill saw, you can use a jigsaw, you can use whatever you have. In this particular case, I'm going to be using the skill saw, but I will show you another door. I'll put a link in the video up above that you can see how I cut it down, another door, using a jigsaw. All right, so if you do not have the guide like this on here, I'm going to show you how to go about doing it with just a piece of wood so that your saw can follow that mark. All right, let's get started. Let's get this job done. The first thing you want to do before you do anything is take some tape like this and just tape up the door, just like this. By putting the tape on here, you're going to minimize the amount of chipping that will take place. So don't be afraid of using a good amount of tape on there. As we finish the job, of course, we will remove it. Now we're going to go a little bit further back here as well, because we don't want the saw that touches up against here to scratch our brand new door. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to take the door and turn it over. And we're going to tape it up on this side of the door as well. We're going to take our tape measure and measure 78.5 inches. We're going to mark it. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side now. Okay. Now we're going to take a straight edge and we're going to draw a line. Just like this. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a utility knife and we're going to strike right along there to minimize the chipping of the paint below. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, it doesn't have to be deep, just has to be enough to strike the door and put a slight little crease in it. Now this particular saw here works a little bit differently. I have a guide right on the end right here, which will give me the distance that I need. So let me just take a look in here and make sure it's correct. Okay. So now our saw is exactly where we want it to cut. Now if you didn't have this guide on here, you could take a piece of wood such as this, put it on here like this, clamp it on, like that. Now if we had to do it this way, without this guide piece, we would just have the saw, this part of the saw right here, touching up against here. like that, and we would just run it through here exactly where we need to. But that's not the case. We have a nice straight piece that we're going to use right here, but if you didn't, you could use this as a guide to get a nice straight line across. Okay? We're not going to use that now, like I said, because we have the other way of doing it. And this is what I mean about it being hollow inside. See? There's nothing in here, and as you can see, it's hollow right in here. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to take off this outside part of the door right here, and we'll get ready to put it back on here. All right, so let me just take off all this tape here, and then we'll continue with that. I bring you in here, I'll show you what it looks like. See, it's a nice clean cut, no edges damaged. Okay, next thing we're going to do is, you see these pieces down inside here, this cardboard? We're just going to take this and bend these over, just like that. Okay, just like that. Same thing right here. Just going to bend it over like that. We're going to clean out all that sawdust in there, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to separate the cardboard here from this cardboard from that wooden side there. So let me grab one more tool I forgot to tell you about, and we'll continue. Okay, I'm hoping you can see okay, but this is the tool I forgot to tell you about. We needed a hammer and we need a plane to actually get this stuff off of here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, put it on the ground, and we're going to hit this side part of here, and we're going to take that off. Okay. So now we have that off. We'll take this off here, and we'll do the same thing on this side right over here. We're going to just take that, snap this stuff off here. Same thing here. All right, these end blocks here, we're going to take those off. And the way you do it is just take a hammer and just hit it. Take it off. Same thing right here. That's trash. And this we're just going to take. This is the part that's going to be actually inside the door. So what we're going to do now is we take our small plane like this, and we just plane down the wood just to get off all of the material. Okay, then once you have all this material off on here, and on the other side here as well, at that point we can take this, we're going to wipe it down with some sandpaper here real quick. We're going to sand it, and then we're getting ready to put it back inside the hollow door. Now when we put this back in, we want to have this painted part facing outside, and it's going to go in here just like this. Okay, but before we put this in, we're going to put some glue on it. Now, this is just personal preference. This just happens to be the glue that I'm using here. Not that I'm pushing this glue, but you use a good carpenter's glue and you'll be fine. All right? So we put a very slight bead of glue. We have our glue on here. We take our piece of wood, the white part facing out, put it in the door here, and we just tap it in there. just tap it in until it's flush with the bottom of the door. We're going to go and grab a rag right now, wipe off the excess. Okay, so now we have a damp rag to clean off the glue. And we're just going to tap the bottom piece in until it's flush. Be very careful, you don't want to knock it in too far. Even here. And we got to go a little bit more here. Okay, and it's even there now as well. Now we're going to take our rag. Let's wipe off the excess glue. Do the same thing on the upper part. Okay. I'm just going to dry it down a little bit. And now our piece of wood is now in there, and we need to secure it in place while it dries. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to take a piece of wood here, like this. We're going to take our 2 clamps, like this. We're going to put it on the bottom like this to hold the wood. We're going to put a clamp on here now, just to hold it until the glue dries thoroughly. Okay, so that's nice and clamped up nice now. We're just going to clean off any of the excess glue again. And now this door is finished. Okay, so now once the glue has dried overnight, we're going to take these clamps off. Okay, we have a nice smooth bottom. Everything looks really good. Let's take this inside, and we're going to get these hung back up and get this job finished. All right, so as you can see, installing the closet doors is really fairly simple. The hardest part of the whole job is cutting down the hollow core door so that they fit properly inside the opening. But that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.